Cap. Oh, his car's coming in pretty good clip here. We'll let him go first. Okay, welcome back to the Ramblings of Larry. 4th of July, 6:36. It has rained most of the day. It has rained most of the day. I was supposed to go, I was mentioned this earlier in the video I was just doing, so I'll leave that alone. Here's the topic for today, and I've seen this quite a bit. Different things. Some of the people I ride motorcycles with, go to church with, we got talking the other day, and I think somebody posted this. Let me back up a bit. Oh, well, I'll mention the topic. I want to back up for a minute. On this is music we grew up with, and I got two funny stories for you to grow up. It's just two funny stories I have about that. So back up just a little bit, or make a side corner just a hair. Laying in bed last night, can't sleep. Amber Alert went off on my phone. I hope they found who they were looking for. But so on that, so I'm laying there. Once I wake up, I have a hard time going back to sleep. So I'm watching YouTube videos. My wife's out of town, so I'm watching YouTube videos. And I watch Motorcycle Mama. So this one's kind of dedicated to you, Motorcycle Mama. I just enjoy her videos. She was talking about the 4th of July. I will one day soon do a kind of all the people I follow, why I follow you type video. There's a reason I follow each one. If I don't get something from your content, there's nothing saying anything wrong there. But there's some I've started to follow and I don't follow as much now, just because it doesn't interest me. We're going to turn here. We're going to go to the flea market. See if they got any fleas for sale. It's late in the afternoon, so they're probably all sold out. There we go. I'm not sure what this place is. Some big distro unit. So, the first time I ever watched Motorcycle Mama, the thing that caught me about her video, other than being just an attractive young lady, but I'm not a pervert, and that's not why I watch her channel. Well, maybe not too big of a pervert, but we won't go down that road. I watch her channel because it started off, I cuss a lot. If you're offended by my cussing, please click off now. Yesterday, she had it on, well, it was actually words. I think she mentioned it too. Let me tell you why I find that funny. I don't hide the fact I pastor a church. I try to keep the people that I pastor off this page. I do got some motorcycle rides on my other page, where I've done devotions and things like that. So I'm an aircraft mechanic. I was an F-15 hydraulic flight control and hydraulic mechanic for 20 plus years in the Air Force. I have hung around aircraft people. I used to cuss. I could put sailors to shame, if you will. Every other word was an F word. Every other word was this. In my younger part of the career, I used to like to beat people up. I had kind of an angry attitude. And so, like Ailey 7 and then now Motorcycle Mama, I understand where they're coming from. And occasionally, you'll still hear me say cuss words. I try to maintain, pastoral presence, I guess, if you will. My wife gets on to me more about it than I do. I'm just not worried about that. So I enjoy her content. So Motorcycle Mama, just go ahead and cuss away. It's all right. In fact, the Bible doesn't really say anything about it. I'm sure I'm going to get some arguments on that. But also, moving on. Talk about growing up. I'm not a big music fan, but I grew up I went to school, I was born in 1963, it tells you my age. For you that are poor at math, I'm 57. Correct me if I'm wrong, I have been before. So I grew up on music. My teenage years music was late 70s and then early 80s. In 83, I went to Okinawa. Two things happened when you, at that time frame, when you went overseas. You were 6 months a year behind from whatever was going on, whatever was popular in the state. But the technology was a lot better. So I grew up like in Boston, Kansas, Stevie Nicks, Queen, AC/DC, Kiss, Meatloaf. I love Meatloaf. I like country music too, Kenny Rogers and things like that. And so kind of a wide genre of music. Well, when I went overseas in 83, they already had CDs. The technology is a lot more advanced overseas, and it used to be, I don't know if it still is or not, but America slows it down. And so with that in mind, as we slow it down, I mean, it may be not that way today, you couldn't bring them back to the States. You weren't supposed to. I remember coming to Hawaii with a Walkman, with not a cassette tape Walkman, but a CD Walkman, and we snuck it in our luggage, and people were like, what is that? And CDs were just being introduced. So with that, moving on forward, I am the pastor of a church now. I'm supposed to be so pastorally, and I'm not. Most of the people that meet me are like, oh, bullshit, you're not. See, there you go. That was for you, motorcycle mama. Bullshit. You're not a pastor. I don't flaunt it. I don't hide it. I mean, I just don't talk about it a whole lot. I don't like people to know it, for the simple fact is they treat you different, and I don't want to be treated different. We're in downtown Lake Park, Georgia. I thought that ride would take me a little bit longer, but it didn't. So okay. So I still got these old CDs. And my wife, who is more pastorally than I am, I like when I'm working on my motorcycle or outside sitting there and staring at it, just thinking how beautiful it is. I like to listen to the old rock and roll music, the old music I grew up on. Well, I had a bunch of these CDs. And so the bike before this bike was a Yamaha 2007 Yamaha Venture. And a neat bike. And I really like that bike. 4-cylinder, V4, water-cooled. I got such a good deal on this one. It's the only reason I traded and bought it. So moving on down the road, I really like that bike. It had but Yamaha doesn't update their stuff. It still is a 07 with still the cassette tape player, and in the trunk you could put a CD player. And the guy before me had this 6-changer CD player, like for a car, and it controlled with the hand controls. So with that in mind, I sat there. Let me get over here real quick. I sat there and I had these CDs that my wife kind of disapproved of a little bit. I'm going to go straight for just a minute, see where I can get lost at. And so I stuck them in my motorcycle. Who's listening? I mean, I had to plug into my headset, so going along. I got to play it on the speakers, and I don't like loud music in my ears like that for a long period of time on a motorcycle ride. I'd rather have it in the speakers. I guess I really just want it for white noise. And so the CD player had this thing, is if you hit a bump, sometimes it would shut off, sometimes it would swap to a new CD, swap to a new song or something else. So I'm up in Alapaha. I'm serving these two little churches in Alapaha. But I didn't mention I'm Methodist, and I'll bring that up why that's important in a minute. So I'm there serving these two little churches, and the Methodist churches in the area, we have a meeting. Of course, I'm the crazy Methodist motorcycle pastor. Nobody else really has one, and it's kind of frowned upon in the church, really, as the pastor. and ours it is. So I got this motorcycle, and I'm going along, and I'm blaring away in the music. Old Kansas or something's playing. Well, I hit a bump. I hit a bump, and the CD player just shuts off. Okay. It's been shut off. You know, you're driving through traffic, so I'm not really trying to usually mess with the buttons for a minute. It would come back on. Well, I got both hands on the handlebars, cutting through traffic. And I know it's funny there. I go over a speed bump. I mean, fairly slow. I go over a speed bump. All the passengers are sitting out front, standing there waiting for all of us to get up. And so I roll over the speed bump, and when it kind of pops on the other side of that speed bump, it jumps to Meatloaf. It's, I mean, at full volume. I'm a bat out of hell. I'm a bat out of hell. And it just keeps, I mean, it goes on. It's like it's stuck in this one spot. And I'm driving through cars in a parking lot. I'm too scared to take my hands off the handlebars and do something. I'm making tight turns and everything. And it's just screaming, constantly repeating, I'm a bat out of hell. I'm a bat out of hell. I pull up my spot, and of course everybody laughs. We had a good laugh about that. Well, I was helping start part of the Berrien County. Arapahoe is in a little county called Berrien County. And the big town, the county seat, is Nashville, Georgia. Not Nashville, Tennessee, Nashville, Georgia. And so there I am, this Baptist preacher who's kind of the big deal. He's a younger guy, kind of the big deal in the whole county, our area. He's holding this meeting at a place called the Brown Bag, a little mom and pop store. They were in like this old tobacco warehouse. It was a neat thing. Well, they had the big granite gravel, so I can put my hand, big granite gravel, like you'd see alongside of a railroad track. And so I get up there. I don't even have it. I guess I had it on, but I didn't even have it playing music when I pulled in. Stopped, put my little disc down so my brake wouldn't, the bike wouldn't sink in that gravel or whatever. I was scared of that. We have a little meeting about the stuff going on in the community. So I get in there. I'm on this bike. It was a big oval I got to go through in this gravel. As I'm coming through this gravel, and a lot of these pastors, one of the problems to me with pastors, they think they're better than other people, and I'm really against that. I ain't no better than anybody. This is my calling in life. It's my job. Everybody has a calling and a job to do. My calling is to visit, bring hope, and preach the word. That's just it. That's where we're at. And so they're looking at the bike, oh, you know, I could never have that. My congregation, you know, this, that. And I go, well, you know, I like to have fun too still. And I'm cutting through this big old gravel, so it's kind of bumpy. And again, you know, I got this fear I'm going to drop this bike in the gravel. Because it's just like the gravel's rolling around underneath me. I hit a bump, pretty good bump, and that thing starts blaring out AC/DC. I'm on the highway to hell. I'm on the highway to hell. Oh, everybody in that parking lot looks at me, and of course, y'all know, but that community all knew I was the pastor. Oh man, that was on Facebook. Somebody had taken a picture of the thing. It had like a little. Got the camera out, phone out fast enough where I could do something about it. I'm going too slow, I think. And videotaped, you know, a 2-second thing of it. They might have been just videotaping for something else, but they put that on Facebook. There's the United Methodist pastor riding his motorcycle in Berrien County, leaving a meeting on the highway to hell. Oh crap, it was funny. Those are my two funny stories for you real quick, and I brought this up. I'm not really sure. I do got a GPS. I know where I'm at, but I'm not, oh, excuse me. I'm not really sure where I'm going. That's the problem. I do got a full tank of gas now. If you watch the other video, you know I got a full tank of gas. I bring up I always have to remind people, I'm a United Methodist pastor. Why is that important? We don't have a problem with drinking. And we don't have a big problem with cussing. So there you go, a motorcycle mama. You can join a Methodist church if you want to do that. Let me see what this is. I'm going to cut up this road real quick. Not sure where I'm headed now. Now I'm going to be lost. I need to get back. It's supposed to rain. I got to make dinner in a minute for my daughter and me. But so, yeah, Methodists, we always say we live by grace and not the law. I mean, I love my Baptist friends, and I got a lot of Baptist pastor friends, and they're pastor Baptist friends, and that's kind of a comical. We can debate theology all day. But on that debate of theology, we at the end of the day, I'm not the judge, I'm not God. In the Methodists, we kind of live by grace. Yeah, don't be rude, don't be doing too much, but I don't think, unless you're using the Lord's name in vain, cussing's going to send you to hell. A beer ain't going to send you to hell. Shoot, we got beer recipes from that era. The wine that Jesus made, it was not watered down wine, it was not grape juice, it was the finest wine, so it probably was real potent wine. So I don't want to get into a religious debate on here either. Everybody kind of has their own little beliefs there, and this channel's not about religion. It's about funny stories and motorcycle riding. So those are my two funny stories with CD players. I don't run a CD player. I guess this bike has one CD. I've used it once to make sure it works. I have a radio, and I use that kind of quite a bit. I can plug my phone into the CD player, and I listen to music that way. But I still love the music I grew up on. Little River Band. Little River Band was another one I really enjoyed. So, all right, I ain't got a clue where I'm at now. It says Martha Branch Road ahead. That was probably Martha Branch Road. I'm not going down a gravel road. So with that, let me say goodbye.